Welcome and welcome back, Mythlanders. This is Goblin Stone, session 21 of our Mythlanders live play campaign. Last session, there was a hell of a fight in one of the manors just south of the South Wall precinct. The gates that they've traveled up to, just on the other side of which is the looming bulk of Goblin Stone, which only a few days ago fell on Arabelle, crushing the inner city, the palaces, the temples, the halls of learning, and the courts of many of the nobles. If there is leadership left in the city, it is scattered, broken, and hiding. The party has lured in a group of hobgoblins, setting a series of traps within the manor, successfully drawing the hobgoblins and their leader of this particular contingent anyway, a sorcerer warrior named Root Eater. The heroes and the guards have managed to survive. They're all now in the base of the manor, just after, the literal fires, the smoke and darkness, the blood and strife, but incredibly intense combat. One of the more intense situations that the heroes have been through together, and certainly the most intense that the guards they rescued have been through since the fall of the stone and whatever they survived to be in this manor where the party found them. After suffering, from waves of necrotic damage and the poisonous blades of the hobgoblins, the parties are poised to perhaps take a rest and move further, continue on their path of moving toward the stone, rescuing allies, finding out what the hell has happened, and bringing good news and hopefully kidnapped, freed hostages and knowledge back to the square. But it was definitely an intense scenario. There were a couple of points where even even the dungeon master felt a little concerned about what was going to happen. But what do you all recall from last session? What stands out in that combat and that scenario from you all? Paying perhaps a little careful extra attention for Helena, who missed last session. X, what else stood out for you? What's your main takeaway, your main moment you remember from last sessions?
Yeah, the idea that we were going to draw them down the steps and through the room, and then kind of we gave them the steps and they had the high ground for a minute, but then the guys closed in behind them, closed ranks, and gave them heck from up top. Lokag repositioned himself to be a menace from that direction, and I think in total it was a good battle. If that aura would have lasted a couple more rounds, I think we would have really been in trouble, but sniping him, and he failed the concentration check and lost his spirit guardians, so that kind of put us back in the game. It would have been pretty dicey if that hadn't gone down. Yeah. So it's pretty close. And then I think out of the NPCs that went down, we saved them all, right? None of them were dead, or was there one
Correct.
of them that actually?
No, we got them all. Yeah.
Yeah. So no fatalities, which was also fantastic. I kind of, as a person, would have felt bad if we killed some NPCs. I don't know why, but I'm glad that worked out and we got them all back on their feet. So that's what I remember. I collected up some materials. I'm going to use some of this guy's herbs and spices in my next tattoo. And then we got a divine focus item, which X does want, if nobody else wants it very badly.
I'll take it. I don't care. Nobody else wants it.
Cool. Heck yeah. Lokag, how about you? What do you recall from last session? What's your main takeaways from the last encounter?
Well, there were lots of goblins, and one of them had some pretty nasty magic things happening, and but they're all dead now. And I remember flanking them, coming down the stairs. That was pretty cool. And now it is time to loot the corpses.
Hey.
Eat the corpses indeed. What about you, Millie? What else stands out for you?
I think it's been mostly covered, besides the kind of fact we really had this fight in a stairway, which, for better or worse, I suppose, the necrotic aura of the spirit guardians of Root Eater nearly took down Cliff and Millie. Millie dropped several times, kept guarding the post. So
Yeah.
we are surviving, surprisingly.
Indeed. Clifford, how about you? What else do you recall? Anything else stand out for you?
Yeah. For me, I just the body's dropping, and then it was, I remember feeling like Helena couldn't attack because she had to use all her actions to heal people,
Yeah.
which is a shame because we wanted you to be able to snipe the hell out of them. But so that was just a really rough fight. But the player not being around, we played a little more cautiously for you, so you're more in the back, not getting up, and that's kind of your usual style, is kind of staying back. And we did have this whole plan of we're going to be over here and we're going to draw them in. And then, of course, as soon as they came down, we're like, get them! And we just came after them. But we did have some upper hand. We had the entangle that was holding them in place, and that was gonna make them clog up so they couldn't move into the room very easily, and that slowed them down for a few rounds. Made it easier for us to get in there, and Lokag had to just go to town on them. So I think that's sort of why that migrated that direction. And then with the backup coming, it made it easier for us to close, pincher them right then. It worked out.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was scary, real scary.
Yeah, Root Eater threw down a globe of darkness. And that
exactly
made you all nervous for a moment, but whatever his plans were, he didn't seem able to quite capitalize on them. Perhaps it's because you all were pushing so hard from your side. You also had hung up tapestries over a lot of the arrow slits, which it didn't entirely stop them from firing through it, but it definitely sort of slowed that down and sort of reduced that rate of fire. That first round, only a couple of shots came through, and then you all figured out that if you stood underneath, they couldn't really shoot down at you, just due to the shape of the architecture itself. Your traps on the stairs did slow them down coming in. Hurt a few of them pretty good, but then they figured that out and just sort of, again, it slowed them down. Their fire trap that Helena set, it worked, catching fire to a couple of them.
Good.
Many of them sort of trying to leap through the fire, taking minimal damage, making their saves, and eventually they sort of, using the same now sort of partially burned rug that Lokag used to cover up burning oil on the floor above. They used that same rug to cover up this burning sort of sugary pitch that Helena mixed up from different materials. So yeah, smoke and fire, darkness, entangling roots, an aura of necrotic energy, poison blades, and the frantic decisions of what are now underdogs in your own city. But quite a win. In many engagements, especially being this outnumbered, which that's the thing, you're individually much more capable than a lot of these goblins are now. Couldn't really gauge yourself one-on-one with someone like Root Eater because that's not happened. It's been a sort of battle of attrition while you deal with a bunch of other minions, underlings. But usually in engagements like this, you all you lose somebody. Your townsfolk and such, they drop, they get killed. But in this case, everything happened swiftly and cleanly enough. If this hellish 45 seconds of your life, which is about all it was ultimately, rounds all counted up, less than a minute.
Wow.
If that could be...
DM, you're quiet on the stream end.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Thank you very much. It's a new mic, so I'm not quite used to it.
You sound okay on our end.
All right. Now,
might be.
am I far overloaded now? How do I sound? It should
That's
be
good.
better. Hopefully it's not destroying anybody's eardrums.
Fine here.
Thank you, Jar Jar.
Much better.
Okay, fantastic. Heck yeah.
Hmm.
Let's see here.
In case you missed it, he just said a bunch of stuff about how much better ass we are than the dumb goblins and how cool
Yeah,
we
I
are
mean,
and stuff.
they're not, they don't have very good gear. They're
Sneaky though.
yeah,
They're clever.
they're sneaky. They have good
Yeah.
tactics. They're working in,
Yeah.
a pretty tight coordination, and they're nasty and tricksome, and there's a lot of them.
Mhm. Yeah.
But few of them seem to exhibit some of the like powers and talents that you all have. But yeah, so for you all, it's probably a pretty great success, and you can see the win. Locag, Clifford, in particular, I would imagine, you can see the win affecting the other the guards and the halfling, who is not a guard but has been wearing guards equipment since you all met him. They're all beaten. They're barely they're back on their feet, but they're a little woozy. They're moving a little bit slow. They're definitely in need of a rest. But you can see the wind building something inside them. Again, that's Locag and Clifford. You all can both sense this is going to have a strong positive impact on these three guards. Evrim, probably not. You think Evrim's seen all kinds of other stuff. You're not sure what his history was before he was a guard, but he's handling the townsfolk well too, and kind of helping sort of to massage that change along, whatever that sort of strengthening that's going to come between them, that perhaps development of new skill or talent. After a rest or so, you should be able to get a better idea of how much more these guards can do than before. But yeah, there's definitely a sense that they learned a lot having survived this last situation with you all.
I have one important question.
Mm-hmm.
Is Bobby okay?
Well, Bubby was not in the scrape with you all. Yeah, Bubby scampered down off your shoulder and away, and probably scampered along next door to the other manor through the secret tunnel. Was not at all interested in being in the fight, and I imagine Helena probably was like, shoo,
Oh,
go
definitely.
hide somewhere.
Definitely.
Yeah, he is not a combat rat.
Yet.
Yet. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the initiative counter. And let's go ahead and highlight our tokens and roll initiative just for RP, for discussion, just to help keep track of the spotlight. Yeah. A little bit for fun. Mostly, entirely for fun, really.
Oh.
Nice. X. So, as the last of the enemies fall, first Root Eater, and then the last two of the Hobgoblins, one Archer and one Sword and Shield Fighter. What is the, well, I think I also described, there was a little bit of interaction last session. Evrim went down and began dispatching the rest of the guards. I imagine Helena, or the rest of the goblins, hobgoblins. Imagine Helena or anybody else who was available to might also have done that. So you all just sort of had, about 10 minutes, perhaps, since the fight has happened, enough to bandage the most severe wounds, to administer good cheeses to the different guards and get them back up on their feet. So once everyone's accounted for, and the enemies, the living and the dead are all accounted for, what is the next thing that X does? After he knows he's not in danger anymore, for the moment anyway.
Is the looting all done? We've gotten everything off of these guys? Because I had detect magic running, and we were rifling through the pockets and seeing what we could get.
Yes. Yeah, I believe we covered that at the end of last session, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I think X, once that's all taken care of, I think I would want to sneak upstairs, try to stay hidden, and just make sure that there's no other goblins coming or hobgoblins or anything, and just kind of look and listen and see if we've been noticed or if the wall is on alert or any of that.
Okay. Okay, excellent. Well, you can go ahead and make a perception check. And go ahead and make that stealth check, since you know that there's goblins on the wall nearby. All right.
A stealth of 19 and a perception of 18.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. Okay, excellent. All right, so keeping that in mind, let's step over to Helena. So yeah, after that initial, again, 10 minutes aftermath, dealing with the aftermath of combat, catching your breath, and sort of coming back to yourselves, so to speak, what does Helena do?
Well, she's a little hurt, and good cheese isn't going to help very much to that effect, but it does seem like a wise time to conjure up some more, if I'm able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is that, 10 of them I get?
Yeah.
I think her first level spells are all used up, though, with her heals.
Oh, really?
I believe so, yeah. I think so. Pretty
It
sure.
says I've got them, but they must not have been marked. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, let's see here. Double check. I know a couple were used.
She should have 3 first level spells.
Mm-hmm.
There was the good berries initially cast, and then the 2 healings.
Okay.
Oh,
So that would be it, yeah.
okay. Well then, instead.
I shouldn't say anything because I do want more good cheese.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, that makes...
Yeah, I didn't know, so let me go ahead and mark that too.
Yeah, my fault. I didn't keep track of that last session. I didn't. Subtract the spells. A lot of moving parts last session.
Well, I think. This guy up to the north, he's dead. I'm assuming it doesn't look like he's dead. I just want to be certain.
You all captured one.
Oh, well, I want to go over there and harass him.
Okay.
Why you gotta be like that? I don't care if you can understand me. I don't even care if you can respond, but why do you gotta be like that? It's something that I need to understand, or at the very least, I want to drive you just a little bit insane as you've made me feel. Yeah, sure, you've made me feel like a hero, but at the same time, I had it good. I got this new hat. I had a new chessboard. I had to get rid of that, and it's all your fault. What is wrong with you? She like spits in the cell.
Goblin sort of watches you, through bared, gritted teeth, his eyes wary, but also, there's some hostility there, especially as your voice sort of rises and you lean forward and shout at him. You can see like an angry look starting to, grow. He kind of starts making this hissing sound between his teeth.
She mocks.
No, you gotta say it with a little bit more of a guttural kind of.
What, like this? Like.
Oh, that's better. Very good.
Now maybe I'll figure out next.
Goblin cocks its head a few times, looking at you, looking past Cliff. You know, he knows that you've spoken in its language before, so it sort of looks at you as if it doesn't say anything, but it just looks at you as if wondering what you've put this creature up to.
He'll look at the goblin and say, "It's pretty nice not to be dead right now, ain't it?" And it's just standing around the pile of dead bodies right now of all the people that attacked him. Just sort of looking at his, like, I hope you appreciate the kindness we've extended to you. And he'll play good cop. He'll basically be, I can't control these people. They'll just, that guy, he's taking numbers. He's got a whole scale where he's like counting how many of you he kills, and I have no control over him. So if you got any information that'll keep them from killing you.
They tell me not to kill, and I kill twice. Twice now that's happened.
Yeah, it's an epidemic, and it started with all of you guys coming in here and trying to kill us and take over our town, and we have no idea why you're doing that. You just keep talking about the masters and meat, and, we're tired of it. So, you want to talk?
There's nothing to tell you that's going to help you.
Well, just for entertainment purposes, at least.
That's helping me. This is fun.
You make tall, skinny, ugly lady leave me alone. I'll tell you what I know.
I'm not that tall.
Compared to the goblin, you are. But yeah, so it just sort of looks at you and, or looks at Cliff. It says that to Cliff, and then sort of turns back its eyes back to Helena, giving that glare that's equal parts, hostility and sort of suspicion, like waiting to see what you're going to do. All right. So what about Clifford?
Yeah, he was interested in maybe in having that interaction. For the most part, I think he's going to sort of take stock, just sort of use his eyes and see if he can find if there's any notes, any evidence. He's going to kind of do his bounty hunter skills of like checking their wallet and seeing, the last motel they stayed at, and try to get a sense of where where they might be headed. I think he's very interested in knowing more. From what he learned, that there was also like a multiple offensive going on. So it wasn't just them coming at us, but there were other teams coming at the city. So he's trying to get a little bit of a macro of like what's going on, I think, from the evidence. And I don't know what he'll get from dead bodies, but especially maybe Root Eater might have something. And then he'll start going up to the stairs where everyone is, I think, and sort of reconnoitering and trying to figure out what they've discovered.
Okay. I was looking over Root Eater stuff. There's not a whole lot that's there's really aside from the little information that you found, there's nothing that indicates that other like that gives you any information about other aspects of the offensive or other commanders or anything like that. And as far as either that or they're smart enough not to take any of that stuff out into the field with them or to burn it or get rid of it. It seems also that they're working on establishing locations of strength and then lines of communication and supply to those places. So in which case, it wouldn't be necessary to have a set of orders to refer to and interpret, since They're
Right.
expecting to be able to, receive word every day.
Right.
But it also could indicate that they've got some other way that the masters are communicating with their minions.
They do seem to have a telepathy about them.
Yeah.
They are driven. They are very loyal.
Yeah, and they work together a lot. This is you've heard of, far out there away from Arabelle off through the forests and stuff to the northwest or northeast. There's there's holdings and small villages of goblin folk, but this is the largest collection with a single focus you've ever heard of. X, for you, it sort of harkens back to myths and legends and tales about the war of the Tuatha De Danann against the Firbolg, as that was the last time there was a large host of goblins, militant, violent goblins. All right. So what about Lokag?
I think Lokag is perhaps helping Clifford search the bodies, but also moving them. Excuse me. He's probably sort of collecting them and moving them up out of the basement, 2, 3, maybe 4 at a time. These things smell bad alive. I can't imagine being trapped down here. They are going to smell much, much worse. There's no airflow down here. This is not a very well-designed house. He is going to, he's going to start moving the bodies upstairs and piling them up outside in the blacksmith area.
Okay. Seeing you begin to do this, Evram, gives an order to the other three, and they begin to help you as well, even though they're in their weakened state. He tells them that need to get these out, as the Goliath says, before we rest. I don't want to see anyone sitting until they're gone.
As they're helping him, maybe carrying a body each, and he's just got a couple tucked under each arm. He'd probably be talking to them about the town square where everybody is, and just he might ask one of the guards in passing, just so how are you? Are you going to head to the square next? Are you going to hold up here? What is your plan of action?
It's the half-dwarf, a fellow named Kelshan. Aye, well, it all depends on what Evram says for us to do. Sort of half expecting to follow you all toward the stone. But I'll admit, the square seems a safer place. Folks to guard and all.
Yes, they are in need of good military men. They are good people, but not all of them fighters. It is a good place with resources, and it is a good place to make a stronghold. If you go there, my companions may know a better way, but I would always suggest the streets during daytime. Moving quick and quiet between houses seems to be good. The sewers are full of slimes and some goblins down there.
So the human, woman named Belray, says, so you think the streets are safe then?
Oh, safe? No, the streets are not safe.
Well, then
But
she kind of chuckles. That's you know what I mean. That's the safest. That's the route to go.
well, that is what I think. We have gone the sewers and encountered slimes each time, so unless you are proficient at dealing with these things, it may be best to slink between alleys and such on your way. Do you know the square we speak of?
She nods. Yerman and Kelshan, you both say yeah, that they do.
Good, good. If you go there, make sure to say hi to Baba Brun and tell him he still owes me money for beating him in that arm wrestling match.
Yerman, the young halfling, excited. Baba Brune's still alive. That's good news.
Yes, yes, but not by his own trying. It seems like he was trying to die the last time goblins were there. He just kept swinging wildly and missing. It was really embarrassing for him. But that is okay. You know, he is better at making ale than killing goblins.
I've seen him mad. That must have been terrifying.
He is more terrifying than someone trying to skip out on bar bill.
The legends tell, after all, says Yerman. But I think I could decently scout. I'm pretty light on my feet. I know town pretty well, though not as well as Millie or Helena.
No, not nearly.
Yeah, probably not as. But we, so I think the three of us or the four of us could, if that's what Ephraim, though, if that's what Ephraim decides. It's up to him.
I don't. If any of you wish to follow us in the stone, we can talk to my companions, but I think the square is in more need of your help than we are.
Oh, we were pretty useful there, weren't we? Though I don't think I want to get into a scrape like that again, says the halfling. Anytime, any day.
Well,
That was fun, says Kelshan.
That is the spirit. You will face much hardship in the next coming months, I think. This would be good tests of your honor and valor. It is a good way to die, I think. Being killed by multiple goblins at once. Fairly painless. Compared to old age.
Way to die. Huh. Never heard that one, says the halfling.
Yes.
Alright, so stepping over to Millie, as as Clifford and Helena talk with the Goblin, as X slips upstairs to, put himself on Overwatch, when Lokag starts to deal with a sanitation issue within the manor. What is the first thing that Millie does? Or the next thing that Millie does after the initial...
Yeah, I think Millie would have checked in with the group of guards, just to make sure everyone was healthy enough. I know most of them are probably still at like 1 HP.
Yeah. Yeah, only the old man is in decent shape. And he's bloodied for sure.
And then after that, I feel like people have pretty much done everything else that there is to do.
All right, so we can check in with Evram. And that was well fought. I saw some of what you could do. Didn't expect the plan to go so well. You all are really rising to this, aren't you?
It's not it went well, but we survived.
Relative.
Ocag's always the optimist.
Have to have one of those. Don't get too far without them, but also luck and talent and toughness and nerve and several other things I witnessed. Glad me and the others got to play a part in it. It's good for them to give back. They've seen a lot bad the past few days. So, well done.
I'll be giving a lot back to head to the square that we've secured.
And how are you gonna get past the guard on the wall?
We've found a way.
Is that right? I was thinking it might be good to get rid of him. You said one of them looks like a goblin sorcerer of some sort. Don't you think Arabelle would be best rid of that?
Perhaps, but anything up high would possibly warn others.
Might be right.
Unless they don't see us coming.
Well, don't know I could do much about that. I have a key to the precinct. We could make our way up the stairs, make a lot of noise, get them looking at the stairs, if that would help. But if you all, with what you've seen and what you know, think it'd truly be best, we could try to make our way back to the square. I imagine you've killed everything between here and there.
Sure hope so. We're all pretty worked up here. I'm not doing too well. I wouldn't mind having something to drink back at the camp.
Oh, I think we all need a rest, some water, and a good think before anything.
A good drink? Did you say something about a good drink?
I didn't. I happily have one when and if we get back to the square, but
Guess that leaves us with a question as well. Do we rest here for another day, evening, or do we head back as well?
I think I'd head back. I'm eager to get back.
Still sounds pretty tasty.
We must push forward. There's an urgency.
I've
Not
got
gonna
nothing
wait
left.
with these bodies.
Let's at least scout. Let's find where this tunnel goes.
I think that's a fair compromise.
Yeah, what did Bubby tell us about what he found?
He seemed to come and go really fast.
Did I send Bubby out again for
I
that?
think from before. I just don't remember.
okay, yeah. From before, he followed the scent of that human that fled here, and found the what you all assume is the undercroft of a house or a small manor or something that the figure went into. He smelled other humans. He also smelled. Let's see. He described. Yeah, he smelled blood, old and new, and that the whole house scared him, similar to the stone. Bubby doesn't like the stone either.
Bubby's so brave.
He's back. He's in in and out of your pocket, searching for another. He really, really likes the good cheeses. They have a certain little tang that he really likes.
Time he may become really buff. You know, it really powers him up. Maybe
He might just.
take a few years
Led
off.
by good cheese.
He might just. You think it's the coat's coming in thicker since he's had one,
Ooh,
you know? Yeah.
so that's incentive to keep feeding him more good cheeses.
He's learning martial arts. He's making friends with little turtles. Well, how do we want to hit this tunnel? Marching orders? Do we send Bubby forward? I don't mind leading.
I mean, if Bubby's willing, I believe I would still have speak with animals up. So I could certainly ask. Is that what we'd like to do? Shall I send Bubby forth? As long as Bubby's willing.
Yeah, we'll follow right behind him. Just lead the way. He knows where he's going.
Alright,
Gotta respect a rat that knows where he's going.
there's some more cheese for you, bub. And guess what? This one's probably going to be a bit easier for you. Familiar territory. This is where we're trying to go. Can you help us?
How dark it is? How dark is it down there? I suspect no light again.
Yeah, it's dark down there. There's no light or lamps that you know of.
So I'll lead the way with my sword that glows slightly.
Okay. So give me just a moment. Bubby seems, reticent to slip forward. He seems growing quite comfortable sort of in and among your person, looking for bits. And you think he's tired from that last. He went on a pretty long jaunt through the sewers and came back to you. I think he might need a rest.
Oh, Bobby. Oh, these little legs can only do so much. I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, good.
So as you all are finalizing your discussion, just, before you all slip out, Evrim suggests, that he and the guards need an hour rest before they move off, so they can kind of recover some of their strength and, get themselves, ready to slip through dangerous territory back to the square or wherever. Though, you all can make insight checks as well. Awesome, Millie. All right. So yeah, Millie, you can tell that Evrim he does not want to just retreat to the square. He wants to, get his other people back. But he wants to be part of things, kind of. You're not sure that he wants to go into the stone with you. But he brings back up, just leaving the goblins on the wall. How it just doesn't seem to sit well with Evrim, and you kind of see that. You kind of sense that it's more about. Yeah, he's old. You think he's maybe wants to die a good death. You think his morale might actually be close to shot. He's just been kind of holding it up for a while, and now that you all have kind of shown up and inspired the others and stuff like that, yeah, you get the sense that he's not in the best spot. It's like, mentally.
All right, wait an hour. We'll and then head back. I'll pull out the kind of a map and make them a map of how we came in from the square.
Okay.
Follow this. It should be clear. Keep some torches ready to burn some oozes in case they're there. So we came up through another sewer point.
Yeah. You did.
Make it back and hold that position. If what Cliff heard last night, I'm getting the blood loss has made me forget some things.
Yeah.
Head back, hold that position. It sounded like more squads might be having sent out from the square, from the stone this morning. So just make sure that it's safe.
We'll wait that rest and a short time more in case you get caught and you need our help again.
We'll send the rat back if it returns. To come back for us.
I mean, if Bobby can do it.
If the rat doesn't come back, then we're fine. Or we're dead. One of the two.
Perhaps, yes. If the rat does not arrive within an hour and a half, then we will make our way through the sewers toward the square. And may the Tuatha be with all of us.
Very good.
Okay. So, do you all head straight out without no rest or anything? You all just make your way.
We already did our short rest, so
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much we can do.
Right. Okay. Awesome. So
I don't know if I could.
We are heading out then?
If you guys really don't want to do this, we don't have to. I mean, it's
I
up
think
to the
we're all
group.
I feel
I'm
like I
alright.
might die.
I
Maybe,
mean, even at full health, we probably have that likelihood. So
I mean, I don't have any spells, and I'm
Yeah,
half health, and
I think we just need to confirm that this goes under the wall and that we can use it as a path to get to the stone or whatever, so that we've got
There
another
might
route.
be.
stay back and
Planned
shoot
out.
stuff. I can work with that.
okay.
And we're
Yeah.
keeping to the corners and trying to be stealthy and working our way through the streets, and some people
DM, did-
scouting ahead. And
Sure.
Did X see anything when he was scouting around up top? What was the what did you see anything?
Okay. You see the guard that Clifford had been sort of communicating with, sort of pop up and look toward the windows, trying to catch the other goblin's eye. It sort of looks around for a few seconds and plops back down out of view. Another 15, 20 seconds, it pops back up. Certainly is looking for the other, to pop up and confirm that Root Eater and the others showed up in the house.
Okay, well, if they're on alert, then maybe it's too dangerous to proceed. Maybe we just need to sneak out of here.
Yeah, like moving directly toward the gate or moving out in the open without stealth, is probably going to get you all interacting with the goblins on top of the wall in any case. But you do know your urchins know a lot of nooks and crannies around the city. For whatever's, remains the same after the fall of the stone.
All right, so then we can't send the guards back quite yet.
They could sneak, you
come
all could,
along with us.
you could pick them a route that sort of backtracked away from the wall and wove through some of the houses toward the sewer entrance that you all used.
Okay, I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time with it. So if it's okay, then it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The goblins on the wall are pretty much the only things that you know about that the guards are going to have to look out for when they leave. It would be easier for them if you dealt with those or dealt with them with you, but they'll have a pretty good chance on their own, of not alerting them if they just follow the route that that Millie and Helena give them, and that Millie is sort of mapped out for them. There will be some roles behind the scenes for them. But you hear over the throughout the course of the rest and such, and once you come up here, you see this guard, the sentry, pop up and look for the other sentry that's supposed to be in the house that you're in. You also hear the grunting of goblins doing, lifting something heavy. You hear something heavy, like sort of plopped onto the ground. It sounds like, there's a grisly sound to it that you think is a body some bodies are being brought up onto the top of the roof. You hear chanting from the goblin. You hear a strange, sort of ugly bluish green light. You can make a religion check for X as you listen to some sort of strange ritual that the goblin is conducting above.
9.
Okay, you are not sure what it is, but it sounds like a necromantic ritual of some sort. But that's pretty open. That could be healing. It could be communing with the dead. It could be animating a skeleton. Given that the bodies are being brought up there, you see the light blossoming in 4 distinct places. You might have your suspicions, but you're not certain. So as you all, sort of start to group yourselves up, looking to bring us back over to the map.
If the rat won't scout ahead, I can take point.
That is true. You can see in the dark, right?
Y'all.
So as you all ponder this, this secret tunnel that some human fled down away from the bugbear, that life choker that had been doing some sort of ritual with the dead to the south. Fled down this way, same way you all sent Bubby. All right, so Millie, you said you're slipping ahead, so perception and stealth check. And everyone, perception and stealth for everybody is fine. You all would be alert.
Lokag's gonna take up the rear and stay a little bit behind the party.
Fair.
Already used my one good roll of the session, so let's see how this goes. 10 and a 10. That's a 20, right?
No. Unfortunately. Oh, wow.
Well done, Lokag.
Yeah. 24.
Very nice.
Awesome.
When the stakes are lowest, Lokag will roll high.
He's sneaky when he's mostly dead.
Yeah. Yeah, there's less blood, to slosh around, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, as you all descend down, you all move down through the corridor. The smell of moist stone greets your nostrils. There's little patches of fungus between the stone blocks, massive stone blocks that comprise the walls of the foundation that you're moving through. You can see the walls change from one type of stone to another, cobbling together some sort of patchwork material, transitioning to like the deeper, or that sort of dark, thick, that dark green stone that comprise the ancient sewer tunnels themselves. There it is. You come into a place of crisscrossing stone walkways over what sounds like rushing water beneath you. Helena and Millie, you've both been down to the bottom, and you know that there's basically two, 200-foot waterfalls that drop down into the darkness of sort of spent, filthy water from the sewer, all dropping down into the deeps below. So it's a pretty far drop if you all were to slip or be knocked off. Fortunately, there's railings here and there, mostly intact. The ones that are rickety have long since been marked out by you all and other folk like you who live or travel in the sewers, as there's sort of an unspoken code between all of the different denizens that thrive on that network of tunnels hidden from sight above, below ground. As you travel north, you come to like the roots of the wall. There's a deep stone foundation. Many old, like ancient caverns and such beneath the city were completely blocked off, walled up with stone. But there's some small ways that have been carved through them over the centuries by careful hands, by running water, and other unknown things. You all end up, scaling an incline of rock, but it's a rough, large block, easy enough to climb, to sort of get purchase on, get your balance, hold on to the walls, while you climb your way upward toward one of these holes that Helena and Millie have used many a time to move into places there. Probably shouldn't have been allowed to go. Just a moment.
Just want to commend all of your bravery for following us on this journey. I know these terrains might be unfamiliar to you all. I assure you it is perfectly safe.
It's safer down here than up there.
As you climb up the incline and begin to make your way one by one through a narrow carved crack in the wall's foundations onto a wide stone, a wide wooden walkway that is sort of mostly just planks laid over thick, wide grooves carved into the ground that fresh water runs across. As you make your way across this, you start to smell the smoke of fires. You can smell, you can smell the air from above ground. There's a breeze blowing over your faces. And off in the deep, you can see sort of patches of daylight. Everything ahead of you, as you just past this sort of wooden planks themselves, is a carved stone. It's bedrock. The bedrock of the hill itself, that the city is built on top of. A bluish gray stone. It's the smooth carved what was sort of smoothed path of stone that's worn flat by 1,000 years of people moving through this area. But fissures crisscross the area. Chunks of the ceiling have fallen in, cracked spiderweb the walls, and ahead of you the corridor is uneven. Looks like there's places where Lokag would have to get on his hands and knees to move through. But ahead, through any of these, there seems to be light. There was a large, vaulted, almost underground plaza. In fact, history told you that it used to be open to the air, but the city has just been built over itself over generations. But it's a large sort of vaulted area, a place where actually there was a sort of black market would pop up here from time to time. But it looks like this place has totally caved in, and places like in the roof have broken in, exposing the sky above.
I imagine then this market existed long before, like, Helena
Oh yeah.
would. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So she can't brag about all the cool things she used to steal here.
No, this is yeah,
Empty now.
definitely empty now.
Well, she would brag then about the things she would have stolen there.
Lokag, ahead of you in the dark, you can see the twisted forms of people crushed by massive chunks of, the buttresses buttress ceiling that fell in when the stone fell, as well as the smell of smoke and the air from above ground. There's the smell of death lays pretty thick on the place as well.
Much death here. People seem to try to get out this way.
Likely,
Certainly helps to know the passages.
likely the fallen are. There was likely a market in progress here when the stone fell.
Think we were not here.
So X, as you look out over, and spot a couple of bodies crushed by massive chunks of rock, you and the others, can see patches of light here and there, but it's hard to tell what's between you and those patches of light. 60, 70, 80 feet of darkness beyond your dark vision in places. So what does X recommend? You can see that the floor is cracked and broken in places as well.
So is it a question of clearing it away will create more danger, or taking the time to clear it away? I guess I don't quite understand.
Well, so imagine a chamber. It was probably 150 feet across, a massive domed area underground. And there were these sort of massive stone buttresses. Parts of that have all fallen in. Part of the floor has cracked open. So it's like a massive underground chamber that is broken, and there's pitfalls and sharp and broken rock. The ceiling's fallen in here and there. And you're trying to navigate from where you are in the pool that you can see around you with your dark vision toward one of these patches of light that'll lead back up.
You guys want X to just go ahead and see if I can pop up on the other side and where it goes and whether it's worth it for us to cross here?
Yeah, Bubby's tired of scouting ahead.
This may be the best idea.
Agreed.
Cliff, you want to buddy up, or I could just go on my own either way?
Sorry, I was going to suggest that I'll tail. I'm happy to go in the front as well, but I'll keep an eye on you and be at the ready to take anyone out that I see if they come at you.
Okay, so we'll pick our way across and see if we can figure out where it leads on the other side, DM.
Okay. All right. So, as you begin to move over the cracked and uneven ground, panels of stone shift under your feet, and yeah, it's pretty uncertain footing. If you move quickly or run, then there's a very strong chance that you'll kind of trip and fall, which could be pretty painful and could, do some damage in this area. Everyone makes survival checks as well.
Not great. Oh, Millie.
Thanks. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there's the eye of the tiger right there.
Helena, you smell two things that you really don't like. Oozes, some sort of slime,
No.
but they're not very close, you don't think. Or it's a little more faint, like it's been some hours since one has been in the immediate vicinity. More importantly, you smell those particularly nasty goblins that you fought in the base of Ogma's tower. The ones with the glowing eyes, the horrific teeth. You smell that same smell that they put off.
We are not ready for that. As she details what she smells.
They smell like they've been here very recently.
Like 15 minutes ago recently?
Yes.
Ah, well, that's too close. I think that suggests we should maybe reconsider those of us who are hurting.
However, X and Helena both, you hear retreating footsteps ahead of you. Pretty loud, heavy boots.
Okay, we need to hide.
So Helena shares this with everybody.
Is there a place to hide?
There's plenty of
Towards us
places
or away.
away.
Yeah, follow your lead. You're always hiding. You're better at this than me.
What does Lokag? Does Lokag have any input? What does he think about this?
Well, I guess hiding is okay. And he'll try and squeeze in somewhere he cannot fit, so he's going to have to find another hiding space.
Okay.
These weapons are too big. That's the problem.
Javelins are making you stick out of that rock space.
So again, you hear the sounds retreating slowly. It sounds like they're dragging something. It sounds like a few of them, maybe 3 of them, each dragging something heavy, sliding and sort of, yeah, grating along the floor.
More
If you
bodies.
think you can sneak up, I would say do it.
I'm down. My rapier out, ready for action.
So you slip forward enough where you can see them. They're not looking in your direction. You're all decently stealthy, far enough away where merely that 10 stealth check does not alert them. You see 3, armored in the sharp, sort of angular, rough iron breastplate, spikes sort of sharpened at the shoulders and on the back. You can see a pale green glow ahead of them. Their eyes project that light. And yeah, you can see them dragging mostly intact bodies behind them. They're moving very woodenly and almost like puppets. Helena, you can see patches that looks like slimes have dissolved other bodies. Both the slimes and any other remains from the bodies are all gone. If there was anything valuable in those bodies, maybe it's already been picked through by the strange goblins that are coming through.
Have we agreed to collectively hide?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And you all imagine hiding, sort of creeping up, looking at each other as you move from fallen, broken pillar, to leaning buttress to up thrust of the tilted, floor where it's broken up. You sort of watching each other. I imagine Millie's probably somewhere toward the center, and you all are just sort of keeping an eye on each other, keeping close enough to each other as you all creep forward.
It sounded like X volunteered to move a little more forward
Okay.
to them while the rest of us hung back a bit so that we didn't lure them in.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so far they have not been alerted. Yeah, you think, Millie, if you get any closer than 60 feet, they're probably going to hear you. You can hear your own footfalls. Yeah, so many adrenaline surges and dumps. There's only so many you could take in a day before your steps start to get unsteady. So X, how much further forward do you slip?
It sounds like not at all. Sounds
Okay.
like we just need to go back to town then.
All right. In about, you all watch and listen. In about 10 seconds, these strange goblins are gone. Over to the far left of the group, Lokag is hiding behind an angled, curved pillar or piece of large stone. As you all look up, it's clearly massive. You can't see the end of it, but it might be resting on the wall or ceiling. The broken sides, one side is sort of crazed with cracks and handholds. The other side is carved and plenty of handholds. It looks like it curves up toward one of the patches of light above you. You can't quite see the sky, but some small part of a chamber above you the daylight is shining into. So just to clarify, the goblins have left the area. They might return at some point. However long it takes them to drop these bodies off, they might be back after that. But you've got a few minutes to assess, at least. You all have good senses on what's going on in the chamber. It's unlikely you're going to be surprised. You've found potentially a way up. Someone might have to scout that climb up and see if it does indeed go up there. You can't be certain, but it looks like it does. If so,
We know how good we are at climbing, so maybe that is not an option.
True enough.
DM, just above the table.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for information. We're not looking for another fight. I think, does that summarize it for the rest of the group as well?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
So if our characters sense that, there's goblin patrols down here and enemies are walking around through these tunnels, we got to go. We can't afford another fight like that last one with no spells and resources.
Yeah.
We were just hoping to gather some information on where this went, whether we could get out of the wall. And if we've got that or we can't get to it, then I think we're just done.
Okay. So the information is the lights above you. Millie and Helena know that those patches of light, those lead to the surface. This is on the other side of the wall. All you have to do is get up to one of them. There's a staircase, if it remains, that can be found to get up potentially to one of them, over to like the eastern side of the chamber. There's one sort of directly above you that this curved, like this fallen stone buttress might lead you to. Yeah. Climbing has
also
been
seem-
difficult in the past. Go ahead.
But we also seem to have a sense that there's a path going even more within, right?
Probably, or it's a path that leads back to the royal passage that you all found. Because there was that royal passage that led into, there were a few other
Right.
broken passages together that led itself all together into the bottom of the stone. So they probably have found some pretty, and you could
Other
think of
passage.
3 other passages that would lead kind of to that area. So it's, yeah. They smelled very strongly of sewage and swamp water.
Okay.
We could go up and find a building to hold up in. Wait
True.
for the next morning. And make our way to the stone.
That's possible. Yeah.
That's
In fact,
good
I just
anywhere.
think, yes, climbing has not always been our friend.
I could always go first and throw a rope down.
I looked at X and
X is an enjoyer of that idea, yes.
Lokag will test the rock, see if it's sturdy, and he'll attempt to climb up just enough to poke his head out and check out where it leads, what's up in there.
Okay. Go ahead and make an athletics check.
Can I guidance him, or would
Yeah.
that be too noisy?
Oh,
Yeah.
please,
You
because
can.
that is terrible.
oh, man.
So does Clifford have any thoughts or input on this, or is he standing back and doing Overwatch, or what's he doing?
Yeah.
Doing?
Part his position is like he's got the crossbow go out. He's ready. If there's combat, he's ready to fight, and he's just sort of being the watch.
Okay.
That's a 12 on that check with the guidance.
Okay. It is at a slope. The slope changes, but you find that it kind of almost spirals up. So you're never climbing an overhang. You're never even climbing straight up. Between the cracks crazing one side of the stone and the thick and sort of deep carving on the other face of the stone, you manage to easily climb to the top. You're barely winded. You never, every time you reached up, there's a handhold. Your feet didn't slip the entire time. As you're peeking, you can see a broken layer of stone. There's cracked wooden frame. It looks like flooring from some basement or building above. That's kind of collapsed in, and you can see sun shining on like the one of the walls inside the chamber above you.
Does the chamber look clear?
Yeah, there's only two area. There's maybe 5 by 10 foot area of floor left in the chamber. But you can also see that there's a door on that same, so you can look up and you can see a little bit of floor left. The rest of it's caved in, and up there you can see the top of a door frame. So it looks like, you can climb up into this chamber and either turn around and see out and maybe make the leap over toward a break in the wall, or move through the door and explore the rest of the building or the remains of it.
Well, I'll explain that back down to the party and see if they want to come up this way or if we want to go back. I can always throw a rope down.
Okay.
So.
You hear whispered words while you're up there at the top.
Do I understand them?
Yes, you do. It is... Well, there's one pretty fine voice. There's one very gruff voice. They're furtive. It's whispering. You think it's coming from beyond the doorway that you can see. And as you kind of sit and look and listen, you think there's the faintest bit of some firelight through that door, but it's sort of swallowed and washed out by the sunlight shining and bouncing around the chamber. Sounds like a couple of
whispered
townsfolk.
down that he's like, I think there are people up here, and he's gonna tie a rope to the top of the rock, the top of the stone buttress, and throw it down for his companions to use. And then he's gonna move closer. Now, is the door above him, or is it on the same level?
It's above you, but it's easy for you to climb up to the top of the rock you're standing on and reach up and grab the sort of tattered edge of the wooden floor and climb up to it, and then be at the door.
Okay. He wants to get up close to the door, but not open it and listen through it.
Okay.
He wants to try and do that quietly.
Okay. Yeah, with your continued stealth check, you haven't done anything really to break stealth. So you still rocking with that 24 stealth check. The shelf is barely wide enough, for you to sort of press your back up against the wall and lean in, listen at the door, sort of partially, reaching up to the ceiling that's pretty low for you and steadying yourself on it. You catch snippets of the conversation. Again, they're pretty low, but now that you're close, it sounds like two guards, a man and a woman, or two people, a man and a woman, talking about the goblins nearby, the goblins on the wall. They're expecting... they're talking about food. They're trying to slip out, find some food somewhere. They're worried about being spotted by the goblins up on the wall. sounds like you found a couple of survivors.
I'll hold here and wait for my companions to get closer, but motion them up and
Okay.
you know.
All right, so you all can make your own athletics checks to climb. Whoever doesn't want to can get Lokag to make an athletics check to pull you up. Clifford, awesome. Heck yeah.
All right.
Clifford's one of the first up to grab the rope and makes his way up. Helena makes that, Millie with that 8 is not going to quite succeed. If you are blessed or guidanced for X, you get X to roll that. Alright, a 10 is going to succeed. Between the rope and the multiple handholds on the broken and carved stone, you each manage to climb your way up. And as you kind of, you can see Lokag up there in the light, and so it's this odd, you're kind of climbing through. At some point, all you can really see is this sort of broken and carved curve of stone that's sort of spiraling up ahead of you. But at some point, yeah, you can see the path kind of connecting to where he's at. There's a small gap as you have to stand up on top of this broken stone and grab the broken floor and pull yourself up. But soon, you all are perched in various nooks on top of this broken stone, listening. Lokag sort of pointing toward the door. And soon you all can start to hear the same thing. 2 humanoids speaking in the common tongue, worried about food for the day and the night. As you all listen, they start to argue, but not very loudly, very, very quietly.
We interrupt them.
Better shush them up before they draw too much attention.
So we are going to kill them?
It's necessary.
Not like that.
Oh, okay. We have food. We can give them food. Rat girl, don't worry. I won't give them any of your food.
Well, that's good. Because I don't have any more at the moment, actually.
That's what someone with food would say.
You're very smart. I really don't, though.
No one's ever accused me of being smart before. I like this. This is why we're friends.
Yeah, we both respect each other's intelligence.
Very intelligent pair. We are the smart ones here.
And
The whispering
Lokag
stops.
oh no.
Do you hear that? Yeah, I heard it.
Lokag will knock softly on the door. Hello, I am not
Hi.
Goblin. Lokag says behind the door.
Mm-hmm. And how do we know that?
If I was Goblin, I would probably not knock.
he makes a good point.
That's true.
Clifford says in Goblin, yeah, we're not goblins.
Hey, you
That
see
is
that?
just
One of them
a
sounds like a
mustache
goblin.
man.
What's that?
You're not helping the points.
Oh, ready. We're ready for trouble. Don't open that door. You won't like what happens.
We have food.
Said he's got food. Quiet. It's a trick. Why would they offer us
They
food?
don't need food.
Gotta hear them
Just let them
softly
rot in here. What do you
whispering
think?
back
Just
and
let them
forth.
rot.
Make a
Kind of
deception
need
for
the shelter as well.
What was that?
Make a deception for
We
Clifford.
kind of need the shelter as well.
Deception? Oh, deception's so bad.
Yep.
The big five. Big five. They probably know I'm messing with them.
Yeah. Well,
Listen, I'm gonna open this door very slowly.
you're not gonna
You will
like
see
that.
I am not a goblin. I am far too big to be a goblin. I'm gonna take the dodge action and begin to open the door slowly and kind of stick my big Goliath hand out.
Okay.
Just like, I am not goblin, I have food. We need place to rest.
Okay. Make a reflex saving throw. Firstly.
Okay. So just dexterity?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's that's a 3.
All right.
Oh.
So as you open the door, you just too late. You can you see a bit of twine sort of stretched taut, and it pulls something. Something glass just out of sight breaks. You hear the snap of first one and then a second crossbow. One of the crossbow bolts comes at you for a 14. The other comes at you for a 15 to hit.
Oh.
Well, both miss somehow.
They stick into the door, inches from your face, as you push the door open. There is two very, very dirty, very disheveled, sort of, they're covered in masonry dust, dirty bandages torn from their own clothes. Millie and or Helena, you might both recognize them. They are two gnomes, unrelated, a woman named Tar and a man named Wynn. They
How do I know
are, if you've ever broken into anybody's house for anything, if you've tried to buy or sell something that was illicit, but you didn't have access to the black market because you've got to know people to sell there. Yeah, if you got in trouble pickpocketing at some point when you were young, or maybe later, you either he was in a precinct jail with you, you broke into it, potentially tried to burgle somebody's house, or he sold you something that was fake or poor quality, or stolen by somebody who was very mad about it.
I think she would probably just generically be a little nervous. Hopefully doesn't recognize my face. And I also have a fancy hat on, so I'm clearly not the same poor kid that probably stole things multiple times.
They, at first, they don't immediately recognize you. They both look, at you and at Millie, seeming, as if, like they're trying to figure out if they know you, like you look familiar somehow to them. And then finally, Wynn says, "My God, Millicent, is that you? What
Seems
happened?"
What do you mean? It seems the scum of the city do survive everything.
That's right. That's right. You found a little hideout. Yeah, good to see you. You look. I didn't recognize you at first. You look. Your skin's. And your eyes. They. The sword. Your friend.
It's come into use. We found some relic, and it did this, but
A relic? Tar.
a flame. I don't suggest stealing it. It's kind of in a terrible place.
Tar, you're stupid. We should have joined up with her years ago. Relics? Swords? Well, we look like pigeon shit, and you look great.
I'm still just covered in blood. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like things have gone a little differently. A little differently for you since everything happened. But we've made out all right. Got a little hovel here. Can, see the stone. See the goblins coming and going. They drop stuff. It's useful, some of the stuff they drop.
What has been of most use lately?
Well, it didn't work too well. But occasionally they'll drop the odd potion. If you... they drop maybe an odd potion. Got a couple things that might be useful we held on to. Keeping them for good trade or for necessity. I got a spot of, I think, a poison. We had what I thought was a flask of alchemist fire, but it didn't work. That was the trap that your big friend set off.
That's a good thing, or we'd all probably be dead.
Yeah, probably. Wasn't the best way to set it up. Didn't think anyone would come this way. What about you? New friends? Has kind of looks past Lokag to Millie, who's kind of just maybe pulled herself up onto the ledge. You did better than just surviving, looks like. Stole some relic, got some magic about you. Got some friends.
Some relic. But yes, this is Lokag, Cliff, and X. This is Tar and Win. They've been known to
nick a couple of things here and there. Cut a purse. Pat a foot. Burgle a burg. Tar doesn't talk too much. Don't suppose you need a couple of light-fingered types to fall in with you? I think we're pretty done here. You're welcome to climb up. We don't have much space in here, but you could see around a bit, get an idea of the lay of the land.
Perhaps we can use this space to rest. We've just come from fighting a fair share of the hobgoblin things.
The what now?
Depends. Yeah.
The larger goblins.
The orange ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Scary looking buggers. Yeah, I said to Tar, we don't want nothing to do with him. Not a thing. But you tangled with him, huh? Not bad. Well, sure. Climb on in. Mine is a few patches. The floor is a bit rickety, and your friend won't be able to stand up in here. Not. Yeah. We're in. Looks like well, I think it's a servant's house. Part of the stables, maybe. The ceiling kind of dropped down. Some of the foundation broke. We cobbled together some roof parts to kind of camouflage it in a bit.
Were you two here when it came in, the stone?
No, well, in the neighborhood. It just left the dome, market, underground, the sewer market. We were scouting for, yeah, another window to climb into later tonight. Didn't find one. Luckily, we were, leaning against the wall, taking a bit of a break, looking at our options, talking over some things. Or I was mostly doing most of the talking, Tar doesn't really do much talking. so luckily far enough away. Those goblins poured out and started killing everything. We scrambled, found this place, kind of, climbed into it and dragged the roof down over our heads after us, so to speak. Or literally. Had to saw a couple of posts, get the roof to drop well enough. Family was carpenters, so know a good deal about how to break stuff. Helped with the second story work. But as the gnome kind of, gestures for you all to come in, points out sections of floor that look weak and broken, just an endless torrent of words coming from Wynn as she describes things she's done to sort of make the place defensible, and starts pointing out, where you can sort of see through the building and see outside, where you can see the wall, where you can see the irregular red bulk of the goblin stone through, smoke and ripples of heat as fires still rage in the area. Foundations of old, ancient buildings that have been burning for a few days still continue to burn. And as you all nestle in, or to sort of climb in, the chamber's about 30 by 40. The ceiling's about 5 feet high, or I'm sorry, about 6 feet high. So probably several of you can't really stand up straight in here. There's areas where the ground is sunken down, and again, you all can check out pretty much kind of, there's a spot where you can see almost every square of the area around you. I think this might be a good spot to take a short break, stretch our legs, grab some water and that sort of thing, and come back here in about 10.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Gonna run an ad here in just a moment, but I'm good to hang if you all want to step away. And
All right. Take a minute.
okay. All right, checking some of those challenges, see where we're at with that. Looks like we're getting close-ish to a second potion. Yep, getting there. Oh, also on talking Big Brian doing the recap. Closer on that, nice.
Donate to it every time.
Good news. Good news. All right. So, let's see here. How is everybody tonight? How are we doing? Chat, Mythlanders? Anything new with you all? How's everybody holding up? What are you all's thoughts on what to do with these two somewhat underhanded, maybe somewhat shady gnomes that are...
Our Jar Jar believes they will rob us in our sleep.
That's a possibility. Millie, you could go either way. Millie, what you know about them is if they are properly motivated, either through fear or greed, they're unlikely to betray. They've got to be more afraid of what's driving them than the thing that they're doing. But if they're sufficiently motivated by greed, probably nothing will stop them. So if you can find a way to use those, you might be able to kind of make good use of them, or at least give those handles to other sort of NPCs in the square, so that the rest of the town square can kind of get a handle on them and not lose their shirts, what little they have. They would be useful to have around. Might be best to keep them in the field, though.
Go steal everything from everywhere.
Yeah. Perhaps there's some way to convince them through their greed to go scout certain things for you, you know. But yeah, if left anywhere too long, they'll be trouble, unless you leave them here. They seem fine here. Heck yeah.
Make it their job and move the fire.
Go get this and bring it back.
I feel like we'd never see it again.
Alright, I'm gonna bring the suspenseful music down. So DL and I have been collaborating on something. He did that series of he built that team, the Aslan's aspirants, I think. So he built that whole team that all are like built to work synergistically. We kind of kicked around the idea. I was like, oh yeah, it'd be fun. You should run them through something and we should get some people to play him or whatever. So that idea kind of built up, and so I've been working on a piece of an adventure just to the trial of the aspirants is what I'm calling it. So at some point in the next month or so, we will be ready to do probably a 2-shot of that. Maybe a 1-shot if we all have enough time in one night. But so we're starting to invite people and who want to do that, because part of the agreement would be you're playing a pre-made character that DL made, and sort of not that you have to play it the way he's intended it to, but he's just here's how it's built, here's how the team is sort of meant to work together, here's some things that would to kind of test that concept, but also to see what other I think part of his idea is maybe to see what kind of things other players would come up with out of the group and the possibilities that he made out of them. So yeah, that's been pretty fun. Working pretty hard on that.
I just threw that link into the chat as well for those who have not seen DL's video there on that team.
Excellent. Yes. Thank you.
If anyone in chat wanted to be involved in that, how would they be involved in that way?
Well, they can reach out and whisper me. They can message me on Discord. They can message me on YouTube. If they, if they follow DL's channel, they can reach out to Loquitur in the same way, either through his Discord, through his YouTube, or comment right here. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna put a whole channel together for that on the server, so we have a space to talk about that and start to get familiar. But I guess the spot to start would reach out to DL or I and watch some of those videos on his channel. Start thinking about which one of the characters you would want to play.
Perfect. DM, has anyone asked you when you're playing, what is your kind of go-to class?
A rogue, usually rogue, some multi-class of rogue. In every edition, that it usually ends up being one of my favorite classes. I think we have this in common. I like skill monkeys a whole lot.
Indeed,
I'm
me
very
too.
like that too. I like my rogues.
They're great.
Obviously.
I mean, 5e you can do other stuff. You don't have to build a rogue, and you can get some of the same stuff. You can get expertise other ways. But I just really like the combination of abilities, and they're fun. Always like the Elven Rogue is probably my favorite one. But they multi-class really, 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 really well too. So like a fighter rogue, we talked about that earlier, is really good. X is playing a cleric, DL's Loquitur's playing a cleric rogue right now, which is one of my favorite kind of sleeper combinations, class combo. It's just fun, Cleric of the God of Thieves kind of thing is usually that was the build I went for.
What do you mean by sleeper?
I don't know if sleeper's the right word, but just like it's not something people talk about. It's not very obvious, you know.
Unexpected.
Unexpected, yeah. Like
Back when I'm eating SpaghettiOs.
okay, yeah. Yeah, you can surprise your table with some cool combinations of play, you know. The utility and skill of the rogue, and then some healing and the buffs and different stuff that clerics get. It's pretty great. And a healer who can hide every turn is awesome. They can pop out, heal, hide.
point.
And I figured out in 3rd edition, which is still true in this edition, hide sneak, stealth is better than invisibility. Because, sure, a skill check can get through your stealth, but your stealth check is also... True Seeing is not going to do anything about it, you know? There's a lot of, you know, unless... You know, so if you're using it right, stealth can potentially be more useful, a little bit more kind of, a little bit more useful in more areas, I think, than invisibility, or even, greater invisibility.
Well,
still
together.
is. But
Together
yeah,
as well.
absolutely,
Right, 'cause
together.
you're
Forget
hiding
about
and
it.
being invisible. It's
Right.
that's
so,
why it's nice to have a little magic or something.
little trickery
little
domain
something.
cleric then, in that case. And,
Yeah.
and a rogue, yeah. And my
Or
favorite...
just go. I love Arcane Trickster, right? So, and
Yeah.
mixing that up with a little wizard, you can do a similar thing where you this sort of person who can sort of mess around, you know, and hide and mess with people and hide again.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely got a lot of Trickster going.
Right. The only thing I wish Arcane Trickster had the ability to do was to get sneak attack on spells. Because it's kind of like, here, we're going to give you some spells, but...
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the
you
extent.
can, though. You can
Right.
with Booming Blade, you get sneak attack, right? So there are ways to
Yeah, you got to pick the right
combine them.
ones, yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
there are ways to
I'll be back in just a few.
I guess, the biggest thing I wish then is, like, that's great. Now give me something like Booming Arrow, you know, some sort of ranged similarity to that.
Well, Rangers are kind of built for that too, right? The way they have all those things to add your dice on the.
Yeah, Hunter's
Especially with
Mark, yeah.
The 24 ones. I mean, the psychic damage stuff is wild. I'm learning all the new stuff from the 2024 stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of fresh.
That's why I'm playing a Battle Master Fighter / Ranger Fey Wanderer character in versus Strahd, and
Fun.
they're a raccoon, by the way. Because why not? They are the medieval essence of Rocket Raccoon.
Nice.
Because you need one
Are
of
they
those
shifter?
in your party. No,
what
they are
race?
a raccoon. They are a Raken, a race from a third-party
Cool.
book. So it's been fun. It's been interesting. They are like a trickster / fighter. I went a thrown weapon person, and then I got a spear, and now I just stab everything with the spear. So my whole essence changed when I got the weapon.
I made a shifter that was like a raccoon, and I made him a ranger, but I gave him like that druid stuff. So he had the magic stone. So he's just like this, and he was basically like walked around like a feral kid, but he could like mess you up and just throw a rock at you, and you'd be like, "Ow!" And Shillelagh, of course. So he basically he fought with sticks and stones the whole time. I had a great time with him.
Nice.
Good stuff.
I've only played one shifter in a campaign, and they were a shadow sorcerer of all things.
Oh.
But I made them more like close to a were rat style of shifter.
Do have a rat-like people here.
Yeah.
You
A lot of
know,
rats going on.
what's funny about rats is I don't have like a particular affinity for rats or anything, but
Personally,
I felt like it was a good analog for misunderstood, downtrodden individuals.
Sure.
So I just think it's funny how many rat themes have come into play, and then ironically, during the course of this, I had a temporary infestation of mice. Fortunately, it wasn't rats, but I kind of felt like I brought it upon myself somehow.
Summoned them to you.
Yeah, because because of playing as Helena. I'm like, oh god, I did this. You're driving me nuts for a minute.
I've owned 2 white rats many, many years ago. They were fun. They're like micro dogs, but they don't live that long, unfortunately.
The Norwegian white rat.
I think it was just, I don't know. I got it from my cousin who was doing like small animal
big.
sheltering
They're
at
like
the time.
Twice as big
Yeah.
as a rat.
This was
Yeah,
just like a standard.
I dissected one of those. That's all I know.
It sounds like you're doing a Monty Python skit. A Norwegian blue rat.
Norwegian blue. Is it faster and more vicious than the white rat?
I didn't know rats could get so big, but I totally understand why they're like level 1 encounters. Because when I lived in Florida, I'd go out on late night walks, like at 2:30 in the morning, and I lived in Tampa, so in the city, and I would, on rare occasions, see an animal so big, I thought at first it was like a small dog, and no, it was a rat. This thing's, oh my god, bigger than the dog I have now. He's like a 10-pound dog. So, I don't know, man. I just would stop
All
and
about the food
turn
source.
and start walking the other direction. I was like, mm-mm.
I feel like 10-Pound Rat is like a really good like punk blues band. I don't know.
Punk
The
blues.
ska.
Yeah, it's got it.
Ska bands.
A friend of
Yeah.
mine did a band called Rats of Unusual Size.
I love it. Oh, I like it. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
As you wish.
Nice. Right. But it looks like we lost Helena on camera there.
Yeah, I'm still here though. I just have my thing up. I'll be fully present. Oops, in like a minute.
Okay, awesome.
But I'm definitely here.
Making a note to myself. All right, so as you one by one sort of climb off the top of that broken stone buttress into the sort of remains, the ledge-like remains of the floor above you, and move through the door, you can see indeed like the roof has sort of been open and stripped to the rafters. It looks like it's dropped down 4 feet or so. It's leaning crazily. There's massive gaps, both broken and burned, in the roof above you. You can see from the bottom, it looks like broken furniture and crates have been sort of stacked up on top of the holes and such. You can see large gaps where the wall is actually broken, and that's been filled with rubble and crates, and large blocks of masonry have been sort of wedged up into place. It looks like they've done something to, slowly but surely, when they can, as stealthily as they could probably, done stuff to really secure themselves in this little location. Bring us on over to another map. And goodness gracious, there we go.
Fun map.
A couple of adjustments are not taking here. Give me just a minute.
An encounter coming.
So you all are looking out from this location. Again, there's sort of holes in the roof in a couple of places. Rubble that looks like it's fallen down from the stone itself has been packed up on sections of the roof that have been filled in with what looks like planks of broken furniture and planking that have just been layered like rough shingles, really, and the weight of the rocks on top is actually kind of keeping everything together. It's very rough gnomish engineering. As you look out over the place, the walls of the Hostrite Manor, which is what this used to be, have mostly been destroyed. The house itself, you can see, it's just a pile of rubble off to the east. And yeah, this area, the smell is hellish. Bodies that have been laying out in the open, likely the crushed nearby, the stable itself was crushed. So you're smelling a lot of that, but also the stink of different smokes as different materials have burned in this area. And everywhere is the scent of blood on the wind. You're reminded of that first day in the stone when the dust like rolled over you, of what, sort of like you're seeing the aftermath, but imagining maybe in snatches here and there of like what must have happened for the people here. As you look out across and sort of west of the square, the high walls of Altier Manor are absolutely rubble. One of the oldest buildings, like manors in the city. The two mounds of these walls themselves form a sort of bottleneck. They always did in the street, so they still sort of do. And you can see that the halflings have piled up a bunch of crates and broken furniture all throughout, like sort of along the sort of ridge of the two walls. They explained that they did this so they could hear, any of the goblins sneaking through. They have to move some of this broken crates or furniture, and that they'd be able to hear it. They show you that they've got all of the entrances of this place set up with tripwires and traps. They have goblin and guardsman crossbows that they've, sort of carefully worked into place. They've got like 6 crossbows guarding entrances on their own. And to the north, you can see the massive, hellish bulk of the Goblin Stone itself. And peering up, you can see some cracks in the opening. Cracks in the face of it. Oh, yeah, I heard Discord go kind of odd. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yep. Good.
Okay. So yeah, just you can see this massive broken landscape. There's deep fissures and cracks from where the ground itself is cracked, and stone is angled crazily in different directions. Some of these holes might go, likely go down into the sewers below the chamber that you just came up from, the vault or the dome. It's uneven, looks like terrible footing. You can see dried blood sort of spattering the rocks here and there. Looks like fights took place. There are, you can see people, the forms of people crushed by rubble, and whatever is sticking out looks like it's been stripped. Boots have been taken off. Any bits of armor that were accessible look like they've been pulled off. Likely by the goblins marching through. They lament that they don't have any food to offer you all. But Wynn is certainly excited about to see Millie and Helena, and that you all are looking so like you've really done well for yourself since everything happened. And they seem very interested in sort of throwing their lot in with you all. And Wynn even says so. You all can make insight checks. Millie and Millie, you already have an idea, so you and Helena can make that insight check with advantage since you've both met this person before.
$18 on my end.
Nice. Okay. 18, 15 for Lokak.
Big 7 here.
All right. And 1 for Helena when she gets a moment with advantage.
She's saying she's not hearing anything on
Oh no.
Discord end.
Yeah,
Huh.
I think she's restarting. She should be back on soon.
Boo. Okay. Yeah, that sucks.
Stuck its way.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for Millie with that insight, yeah, you get the sense that, I mean, they're useful, but they are troublemakers. More Win than Tar. Tar's just ready and sort of easily talked into stuff, and he kind of likes to party and spend his money pretty easily. So he's pretty easy to talk into stuff. But Tar seems to be the source of most of the bad ideas. When they're focused, they're incredibly focused. They could be very useful. But you need to keep them focused somehow. If you just send them back to the square, if they're there long enough, Win's going to start causing trouble, and Tar is going to help. If you separate them, that might be good for Tar, but you get the feeling that Win probably wouldn't know what to do with herself without having Tar to boss around. So yeah, it might be kind of problematic to separate them. It might be best to either leave them here or take them with you.
They could be of help, at the very least. Help us gather more loot to take back. Once we get back, perhaps assist with some of the warehouses. There's got to be stuff still out there that we can use.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. Goblins couldn't have gotten all of it. Does anybody else have any thoughts? X have any thoughts about that? About what to do with these 2 gnomes? Do you like the idea?
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna be all into stealing, there's a lot of the town that's overrun. They can just go out on collection missions, break into fancy houses, and take all the stuff and bring it back to the square. If we get rid of the goblins someday, it can all be given back or whatever. But yeah, they'd be great at going out on raiding missions. Just let them do what they do, but not in the square.
You might want to direct them because they have gotten arrested and they get caught a lot. So you might want to send them on things that you're certain they can handle, or things you've already sort of scouted, or to have them scout for a company of guards or other folk in the square that are going to go do something. If they make a sortie out into the village, yeah, but yeah, there's definitely possibilities for sure.
Yeah, I guess that's my more along my suggestions, right? Like have them assist with the gathering, but not be their own little unit.
Yeah. Oh no.
That usually means that it's updating. It's taking a long time.
Well, are they crafty? Are these gnomes crafty at all? Because I think Clifford would assume that they're, amazing craftspeople, just because that's been his experience. But I imagine maybe traps, stuff like that. But they show him my pistol. Like, are you familiar with his work? And he shows him this pistol. He won't let him touch it. But
Tar looks up, at it, his eyes going wide. They both look at each other and nod. If you're asking if we could make something like that, I don't think so. But
Nobody
you know,
could make anything like this. This is a hideous Kindlemoot. This is a piece of art.
uh, no, but by family, I'm a carpenter, and by family, Tar is a mason.
Of course.
We have some
of
skills
course.
there. Better at breaking into them than we are building them, but you know. So yeah, unfortunately, they don't seem to have the kind of skills that you're referring to.
Yeah. I really just want to show off what a cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
He
Tar
does
is
speak
certainly.
Goblin. He does speak Gnomish as well, so he'll throw in a couple little Gnomish lines just to kind of extend a little camaraderie with them, make a couple little quips, little inside jokes. You know,
Okay.
I won't say the kind of jokes that only Gnomish people are allowed to say, but I will try to connect with them.
Well, you get the feeling pretty quickly that those kind of jokes would probably go over pretty well with them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they just have pretty rough sense of humor, and
Oh good.
so yeah, okay. Pretty quickly, you're chumming it up with Win, and
Sorry.
Tar is seems to laugh at a lot of your jokes. He doesn't make much of a sound, just a sort of breathing sound. You think he might have his vocal cords damaged at some point. You think he's mute.
Oh.
Yeah, he barely makes a sound. But yeah, he definitely seems to have taken a shine to you.
Oh.
Let's
Play some cards, hang out.
All right, checking something real quick. Win is chumming up to you, trying to get you to drop your guard, so she can pick your pocket. You're pretty certain. But Tar is genuine. He thinks you're cool. You made a deal. He's heard of Phineas, or has seen some of his gear. Among other notable people of the city. It's probably the finest thing that Tar's ever seen.
She a beauty. And he'll, if he can, he'll let the pickpocket, steal something small, a dagger or something like that. He'll happily allow them to steal it without really responding, make them feel like,
But if she's going after a specific item,
oh, that's my pistol. You're not messing with my pistol. If they go to the pistol, then
She is angling
might
for the
lose a
pistol.
hand.
You could tell the whole time.
Yeah, I'll wait I'll wait till she gets really close, and then I'll point the thing like the middle of her, between her eyes. I'll just be like, and just like lock it into her forehead, just like, no, this is not
that's
for you. This
very
is for
shiny.
me."
That's very.
Isn't it
That's
nice?
such a gloss on that metalwork. It's like I can just see both my eyes in the sides of that barrel. That's just. I really appreciate you giving me a closer look of this. That's very.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
the last time. Last time you're gonna look at it.
Oh,
this
I
close.
won't ask again. Don't worry.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Thank you.
did
Very
you
much.
ask the first time? And
She leans back. Tav has got the faintest little smile on his face. He seems to be amused.
Good. It's all good fun though. He's not threatening really. It's just more of like,
Yeah,
Playing around.
she might not know that though. She definitely is like, oh yeah, no, I definitely wasn't doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd suggest hiding that when you sleep, Cliff.
Oh, you have no idea how close we are.
Well, we're
I'll never sleep alone again.
that sounds nice. Well, what's your plan now then?
Well, we gotta get back to the square, right? He looks at the others.
I don't know why. We could sleep. If we sleep here, we can keep
Oh.
pushing ahead.
Oh yeah, not right away. I'm happy to stay for a little while. I'm tired, but morning we get some rest. We either get back to the square or we try to take out some of these goblins on that wall there.
Yes, we should keep pressing forward into the stone, I think. This is a good place to rest, but there are people in the stone captured. They have to meet the masters or something, but I don't think they're going to let them go after that.
No, I don't think we want them to meet the masters. I think that's our goal, not to allow them to meet the masters.
Oh, I thought it was like meet and greet with like food or something.
Autographs.
I don't want to meet anyone's masters. Not dressed for it.
No, you are not. You are wearing rags. It is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, says the gnome.
And this is coming from a guy that wears loincloths pretty regularly.
And that hat, what is that thing?
Have you seen it? This is made by Rat
How
Girl.
can I not?
She made it. It is Chuck. He is my best friend. He is dead, but he is on my head.
You keep peculiar friends, Millie.
Yeah, they get the job done.
There is nothing wrong with my hat, and that is exactly what it does. It gets the job done. The ungratefulness of the beauty that's around you. Don't even.
Oh, you made that hat.
Yeah.
And now that I'm seeing it, it does look very fine. It just, the light isn't so good in here.
Now your eyes are probably not what they used to be.
I suppose not.
It's probably from all the dirt, dust that this stone kicked up.
That's it.
Whatever it is. Now we acknowledge this hat is glorious. That's all that matters to me.
So I heard you talking amongst yourselves. You mentioned resting here. There's little room, but I suppose we could all squeeze in. Some of you'd have to take a hammock in the rafters. Especially with your big friend here.
Oh, I call top bunk.
Haha. Yes, you can have it. There's a couple of cubbies that we got our bedding in. So rest through the day then. And then into the stone.
What time is it right now? Like, can I tell? Is it be up before noon, afternoon?
Let's see here. It is still pretty early in the morning. Like you all, you baited the hobgoblins in early in the morning. You knew they were coming. At late in the morning before dawn. You fought them. You rested for an hour. It was about a half hour moving through the sewers. So it's not even 9 o'clock yet. It's not even 8 o'clock yet. It's still pretty early in the morning, I'd say.
It'd be good to go into the stone at night when all the goblins leave and go out into the town.
Last time we went in, it was quite busy.
Populated, yes.
Wasn't that nighttime? It's been a long few months.
Yes. You all spent a night in there. Or 2, I believe. No, you spent 1 night in the temple.
Yeah.
So you experienced it being kind of quiet and pretty active. But you also know they only have so many numbers. And if you dealt with a lot of hobgoblins down below, you heard a lot of them training. But now it seems like the hobgoblins have moved out to the city and are part of the waves of attack. So may not be as full and as busy inside. Based on the noise that you're hearing throughout the city, that you heard throughout the night in the city, you don't expect there to be a whole lot. But you had, but you don't know how many were in there. You would hope by the sounds, though, that the vast bulk of the denizens of the stone have moved out into the city to carry on their grisly campaign. Likely there'll be some sort of defense left. If luck is with you, it'll just be a skeleton crew, or just those that are weak or better at things that aren't fighting. You expect other bosses will likely be inside, the other goblin wizards, who are working strange magic circles of their own, sacrificing the blood of townsfolk as part of a great network of interconnected ritual circles within the stone. At least that's in part what you all have pieced together a bit through vision and stuff that you've heard from other goblins. A goblin that you spoke with. As the sun is well and truly up, and most of the goblins are resting, you all can take your short rest. If you all needed another rest, you can. If you're going to take a long rest, you can definitely rest through the day.
Go
I
long.
think that needs a long rest.
As I say, I don't think a short rest would do almost any of us any good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty rested otherwise. Yeah. Spells though, boy.
Lokag's already climbing into a hammock in the rafters.
You take a length of tarp and probably make your own hammock, wrap the ends
This
in.
takes a lot of cloth.
Yeah. Supplemented with several bits of rope, sort of macrame yourself a hammock. So as you all spread out through this very small place, some of you higher up in the rafters, where you can see over some of the rubble of walls and broken furniture and crates and wagon wheels and the chunks of in the facades of houses and crumpled gates. There's the smoke still kind of hangs thick along the ground. There is here and there are still fires that continue to burn. Occasionally, you see movement on the walls to the south of you all. The goblin patrols up there still likely awaiting word from the hobgoblins who are supposed to be establishing themselves in the manor. The hobgoblins that you all slaughtered at in the cost of your at the cost of your own blood. But that is a problem for another time. You all assume that the guards slip out during the day, Evram and the others, and make their way south, because they don't hear any. The rat, Bubby doesn't return to them. They don't hear any altercations. They don't see you attack the goblins on the walls. So you assume they slip away, back to the square, and you won't know how they fare until later. So some hope perhaps goes with them. Occasionally, you'll see a goblin move out of some hovel of stone, 70 feet to the west of you, picking along the rubble, and obviously plucking gear off of a corpse that's out of sight, pulling something out of the rubble, hunting for some bit of treasure before slipping back out of the sunlight. They have cloaks up and seem to be well shrouded against the light. You notice that they have gloves and such too. It seems that they really don't like the sun. These goblins, anyway. You all hear sounds coming from the stone here and there as you, as you each take a watch. And at some point, looking up, you can see movement, small shadows in these massive cracks high up. And above those cracks, again, you kind of see like, rotted and crumbling walkway, arches of once finely carved doorways that go into it. And higher up, still the surface, the outside of the stone seems to be carved in strange, like jagged and twisted designs that you can't see. It's like you can't see the whole of it, so you can't really tell what it is. But it seems that the whole stone is carved. And it looks like most of that facade on the bottom broke off once the stone hit and settled. But you start to get the sense that the area is being watched by goblin archers from above. But, which, is daunting, but if their eyes and is as sharp as most of the goblins that you've dealt with, and you all should be able to slip past them. Especially you all take the night, or the day, rather, and study the terrain a little bit. You all can make survival checks and see if you all can pick out routes along the broken ground that'll best hide you from the stone itself. Lokag, I think you can make this with advantage because you're from a very, you grew up in a very rocky terrain. Hunting.
Sweet.
Ooh, Helena, look at that. Right. Excellent.
The way of the rat.
So, you all pick out a sort of, you can slip back down into the dome, move along one of the ledges underground, and pop back up about 70 feet to the west of you. It looks like it pops out in a, almost a, where a bunch of the ground is sort of caved inward. And then there's a fissure that follows and goes right up to the base of the stone. So you could, the safest looks like slipping back down into the domed black market beneath you and moving along one of the ledges, climbing back up. When you all bring this up, Wynn says, well, you want to be careful. We trapped that. Every spot into the underground we saw, once we saw goblins move up out of the ground, we trapped all those spots. So you want to watch for them. But they're just tripwires, just strands of rope and twine. Some of them just noise. We did find a small keg of blasting powder, though, so we managed to rig one of them up in one of the crates. So, mind that as you come out.
Sounds like you're coming with us to disarm the traps, then.
Well, sure, that would be easy enough. I don't mind. Or Tar wouldn't mind coming with you to disarm that. But I don't really think you're going to be able to talk us into going into the stone unless there's a lot of gold in there. And as hungry as they seem to be
collecting all of the resources of the city.
She looks over to Tar. Tar gives her the same look back, sort of a. Well, well, we're listening.
You come with us, you could help acquire it for a finder's fee, of course.
What sort of fee would you be thinking, sort of percentage-wise? Kind of split. I mean, if we find it and we unlock the way toward it, if there's any traps and that sort of thing, I'd say we deserve bigger than just single split. If we were to split it, 7 ways, I'd say we split it, maybe 12 ways or 11 ways, and we get 2 extra splits.
Two for one deal. 2 for 1. You two are 1. That's about right. The math, I think, Lokak, you could take on those 2 if you had to, right?
Now, I think you're coming dangerously close to some unacceptable sorts of insults, sir. If you're casting aspersions on our height and our weight and all.
I know it's more your formidability. I do not get the sense that the 2 of you could take Lokag all by yourself. But I could be wrong. I mean, I'm sure he'd love the contest. What do you think?
Lokag will smile and spin the glaive and just go, yes, this would be a good way for them to die.
All right. Given we are the ones who are going to have to clear out any dangerous entities within there.
You do make a good point. But even splits then?
I don't really want to share, but
Said 2 for 1.
Anyway.
2 for 1.
Yeah, you 2 are equal to 1 of us. I think that's math, right? I've heard it's math. I don't do a lot of it.
Or we can just split it 7 ways.
There, Millie.
Yeah, you're really working with me here, Millie. Thanks.
I couldn't expect a bounty hunter to want to play fair.
Yes, but were you?
I'd be dead if I played fair. Stupid.
She gives you an appraising look.
Suspect.
Now, you may surprise us. Perhaps my assessment of you is, unfair. And perhaps in the course of battling these great hobgoblins, you will prove yourself worthy.
He's the brave one, and I'm the smart one. I don't do a whole lot of fighting, but I am good with traps. I got sharp eyes. I'm good at spotting problems. And he's good at making the problems go away, usually with his knives. Or, his fists, usually. We don't... Until recently, we haven't had to really stick many people too often.
Well, I can't wait to see you both in action. Impress me!
I hope you never do. Hopefully, none of those goblins will make it through you all.
Unlikely.
Well, I think it's fair to say we'll be positioned toward the rear until it's time for our skills to be deployed. That sounds, fair. I mean, you all have the fine gear and weapons and such. We just have the rude things we've cobbled together, fallen goblins and guard folk.
How about I be at the rear and you be right in front of me?
Even better. I like this idea, says Wynn. I feel much safer.
Well, at least one of you is going to have to lead the way when we are dismantling those traps.
Absolutely. There'll be, I'm sure, a certain point where we'll be taking point, or taking point with you, where you are rather sneaky. We didn't hear any of you sneak up. I don't know how close you all got before the big man knocked, but no slouches
We're
yourself.
all right outside that door.
Well, I suppose if there's some coin, and you all are big heroes now, it seems like. Good on you. If there's the hope of coin in there, and maybe there's some townsfolk that need to be rescued, and that might make us look a little better to some of the other townsfolk, and maybe help with our old image a bit. I'd say it wouldn't be too bad as long as people don't start getting the wrong idea and expecting me to run into burning buildings. Unless there's gold in there.
I'm sure that'll come later.
Yes, Rat Girl very fond of burning buildings.
What can I say?
We'll have to negotiate that if that comes up, I suppose.
It's okay. Rocks don't burn as easily.
No, they do not. Thankfully.
There also wants to talk. They had a faulty alchemist fire ready to explode in this tiny space. We'll take the blasting powder, though. It might come in use within the stone itself.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea. Okay, especially, a good surprise to leave behind if we need to really cover our retreat. Well, I suppose we'll gather some of what we've secured away. A bit of rope, some extra daggers, and some full quivers. And make sure that we're ready. So is there anything else you all do during your rest? Helena, as you all start to pick spots to lay down and such. What does Helena do? Is there anything else she does with the evening?
Can I ritual cast good cheese?
I don't think so. Unfortunately, no.
Aw. Just obsessed with the good cheeses. I think Helena's pretty wiped out. I think she's just gonna make sure Bubby's all good and cozy, and then make the best little nest for herself right next to that. And I think it's gonna be pretty simple. Maybe drink a little bit to numb the ow and help the sleep.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Bubby is quite content to curl up against a warm patch of skin, if it's up against your arm or the nape of your neck. And, is sort of rasping a little breath, telling you he's snoring pretty quickly before you're even starting to get woozy. Let's see here. And different things, might flit through your mind as you're falling towards sleep. Some strange, some manor full of people who are working with the goblins somewhere out in the city. Market square full of people who are all seem to have a different attitude about you now, which in some ways just infuriates Helena that now they like her,
Yeah.
But some folk in there who are, have been genuinely kind, to you. Lokag, you probably, relaxing after. That was a grand fight, probably, for Lokag. And if he had died during that fight down in the manor, that hellish stare that you all prepared, that, flood, that, tide of hobgoblins that broke on you and your hammer and your allies, and there's the promise of more tomorrow. We've got a couple of gnomes that are with you. You've navigated through. Everyone's alive. It's a good day. Clifford, spending a little time sort of buddying up with these gnomes, sort of getting a feel for them. Probably Millie as well, going over a few plans. As you each, fall into your own various types of rest. X, you are up and meditating. So sort of later in the day, perhaps. And you're praying. You're kind of thinking over these arrows and such. And some of the targets that you've recently killed. And you feel a sense of satisfaction, a sense of not pleasure exactly, but you can feel that Machas has seen your acts. And the only vision that you have is, again, this large sort of shadowed chamber, which could be a grave or a cave, or perhaps both. You can sense the twisted roots of ancient trees sort of cutting through and breaking through the rock. You feel like if you listened hard enough, you could feel the slow creak of those roots against that ancient stone. You almost feel like you could hear the echo of the sort of dark robe that the figure wears brush against the stone in the darkness. You have done well. You have... Yes. I was right to seek you, to reach as you have reached. I perhaps less blind than thee. But a handhold we both have to what we consider sanity. Our task goes well. I can feel the scales begin to shift. Each soul of their number sent. It does not go back to their... It does not go back to the master of their death path. Their souls stay in your world to suffer what fate the souls of your plane suffer. They may be born again, but each you kill here breaks them from their god, the one-eyed conqueror. He had another name. Baelor. Balos. The evil eye. He is the master of masters. Of the masters, there are 3. They are the greatest. 2 arrows you have are now free. Use them to seal those fates. The vision and sense of presence fades. It felt closer this time. It felt more tangible. The vision felt more real than the last time.
Nice.
As you know, your faith and your exchange with this god, your faith in exchange for her empowerment, it builds a bridge to that divine realm, and you can both travel it more freely as that bridge gets stronger. This is a path you've trod before, you know it well. And you are one of the rare people in the world who ever gets to do it all over again, knowing what they know now. The city is quiet. You've, somewhat grown used to it in the square. You've seen the square survive multiple encounters. You saw it go from being a vibrant living place to being a place of solace and sanctuary, thanks to your actions and the actions of the other townsfolk. But looking out along this sort of broken plaza, the ruined buildings of once great manors, all, and everything else lost beneath the stone, the silence of the city takes on a different, almost haunting aspect. Both the goblins and the townsfolk quiet. The day is perhaps free of combat, but certainly not free of tension. But you, armed now with more information, with two gnomes who know the ways of stealth and are decent with stone, and likely certain types of knowledge of architecture and certain types of traps and such. So as you move back into the stone, you're much better armed than you were the last time. You have a path over land that you're certain is going to take you safely to the base of the stone without anyone spotting you. Words that the guards said, stuck with you, something you all have been considering. They said that the masters of different companies, like the bosses, the different sub-bosses, seem to clutch their amulet, take it off, and hold it up as they approach the walls of the stone. They seem to flow open, creating openings for the goblins to move in and out of, to funnel their troops through the stone and not have to climb up to the balconies above. I believe you all still have one of these, at least. But it was only seen from a distance, so it could be different things. It could be an amulet worn, it could be a holy symbol, it could be a spellcasting focus. So does anybody have any thoughts about how you all might get into the stone once you cross the broken plaza toward it? Will you all set ropes, have Lokai ascend up toward one of the openings, and climb?
I do love climbing.
Helena does tend to lean on trusting Lokag and his fine abilities and intelligence.
What items did you keep from any of the sort of bosses that you fought?
I do have a grappling hook, so that'll help. You want to throw that up there, give it a toss, launch it up into the edge of the wall for Lokag to use.
It will not be quiet.
Ah,
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It'll be a loud metallic sound at the opening that you're trying to sneak up on, essentially, or near enough to it.
All right. Well, I'm smart enough to know that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I do have a light crossbow I've been carrying with
Mhm.
one of the. Are we still with the gnomes? Would one of the gnomes like to have one?
They would. They have some decent gear.
Okay, good. Well, I got this sweet crossbow. It's not a, it's not a Kindle move, but it's all right. I could offer it to them. But yeah. Well,
In the pack, we do have that amulet with a cross on the eye.
Oh.
Is that the amulet that we've seen them using to open the walls of the stone?
Evrim and the others didn't see specifically, just that each time, each one, whether it was there seemed to be some sort of magic user or an armored commander, they pulled something out, some amulet off, and held it up to the stone. So it could be.
All right. Maybe we ask them, to point out places where the goblins have come from, and maybe try and pick a different spot in the stone. Hopefully not entering in like a main gate or something. ideally it would be a storeroom that we enter or something like that.
So it may only open at certain places.
That's true. This is true.
True.
That seems more sneaky than trying to climb this thing. Can we, if we asked Win and Tar if they've seen any of these entrances, of these goblin locations?
Yes. They point out several places along the rocks. So you can see these green marks that I've made on the map. I'll go ahead and let me bring this up on stream. So yeah, you can see these green marks, and they indicate the two big areas seem to be where they come out the most, and usually toward the middle of those areas. So from like here to here is where the most traffic is. The very least seems to be over here, and it's mostly like groups coming in from more eastward. So that seems to be one of the nearest places. So it seems a range, and it doesn't seem like they open in the exact same place each time, but just like maybe these open into known chambers or something.
Once we get to the stone, can we move pretty freely along the like edge of it? Are the balconies like overhangs? Would it be hard for them to see straight down?
Yes, it would be hard for them to see straight down. There's also, there is smoke in the air, so when you're above that they're looking through all of the smoke and to see you. So yeah.
We could put some tar on a rope and burn it. It'd cause a lot more smoke.
Does anybody just turn and look at Helena when that gets mentioned?
Yeah, she definitely sported a grin, a smirk, at the mention of sticky substances.
Trying to start a fires then, says Win. Well, there's plenty of rubble around, kindling and such. Not fire, but there's the one keg of blasting powder. Might be best saved for another time, though.
Might be a bit much.
We collected a bunch of torches. I think we have 11 of them.
It's a lot of torches.
Indeed. Perhaps I'm just thinking more smoke layer than fire. But I like you said the eastern entrance is less populated, less busy. Perhaps that's where we head to.
Yeah, rarely seen anyone go in that way.
That or it's straight into some large boss's area, and we should avoid it.
Well, everything's a gamble, right?
That is life.
I suppose if it is, you'll be able to see. Just because the door's open doesn't mean you have to go through it, right? I thought. All right. So any other thoughts as you all rest out the day? Tar, at some point, nudges Cliff, who has been buddying up with him a little bit. He kind of juts his chin out when you look over, and he's rummaging in his bag. He looks over where Wind can't see, and he hands you a flask, and it's a potion of healing. He gestures in Thieves' Cant You might not understand it, but a couple of other party members do. And Tar is saying, "Looks like y'all have already taken. Y'all look hurt, and y'all are going to be up front, unless there's a trap. So, here." Yeah, kind of makes sure that Wynn can't see him, but the rest of y'all, he doesn't hide it from anybody else. The rest of y'all might be able to see.
Millie will sign back to him. Just thanks.
Alright, so you rest. Go ahead and make sure you click those buttons. Get all that health back up. Half your hit die. All of your long and short rest abilities. All of your spells and all that stuff should pop back up. And so, yeah. If for some reason the character sheet glitches, we all know that we've just had a long rest and got all our stuff back. Except for, up to half those hit die. So, you've got the route picked out forward. Any other last steps, thoughts, or considerations before you slip in with your two gnomish thief allies?
Good.
All right. So yeah, you make it back through the doorway. You drop carefully back onto the top of the leaning stone buttress that you climbed up through the dark to get here. You climb, a quarter of the way down it, hop, a 3-foot gap over to a nearby ledge, and make your way around the rest of the chamber. A little bit further west, moving, just about 60 feet up. You all come out. Let's see here. There's 2 openings above. One's a little bit larger. One's a little bit smaller. Or 3, I'm sorry. One further to the north, they indicate as the one that is least trapped. But if you want to get the keg, I said it is, the blasting powder is in this, it's packed in some rubble at the base of this broken wall. There's tripwires sort of all around, but Tar quickly moves out and snips all of them. Or it sort of leans out. The ground sort of tilts crazily up over you, so where you all can kind of crouch down in the shadow of this, upset piece of road, and sort of regroup, recover this keg of blasting powder. So go ahead and add this keg of blasting powder to your inventory. And yeah, string or tripwire, twine, or whatever, there's like 10 lengths of 10 feet of it, so might be useful later on. And you all, very, single file, moving very low. Low cag, there's several points you have to get on your hands and knees and crawl to stay out of sight. Sort of throwing your hammer on your back, or, having some of the others carry it between them. In single file, very hushed tones, just the sounds of your boots slipping on the uneven terrain, and your breath, sort of panting. You all make a winding way. Let's see here. Stepping over and hopping quickly some small gaps that lead down into, there's other basements or that are you kind of see down into, but you don't have time to search any of them. You all move pretty slowly and carefully, and nothing seems to notice you. Nothing jumps out to attack you. Smoke streaks across your vision. Smell of burning leather, of burned meat, of charred wood. The smell of dust is still, the smell of rock dust is still thick in the air, even though like the dust itself has long since settled. And you all come face to face with this otherworldly stone that's invaded and smashed, completely upended your lives as you knew it. For some of you, it's been, for some of the city, it's been unimaginably terrible. For some of your party, it's been everything they always wanted. Helena, perhaps, is certainly thriving almost better than anybody in the new order of things.
Oh, absolutely. And in further celebration, I create 10 more good cheeses for my people.
Awesome. Tar looks at one, licking his lips. The gnome clearly wants one.
Oh, Bubby first. Okay. She starts passing them out. Seems like Millie wants 2. If you insist, hands over 2. Gives 1 to Bubby. That's 3.
Tar looks offended that a rat is getting the cheese before he does. He obviously doesn't say anything, but he kind of turns away.
She gives it a long pause, and then finally, slowly, suspiciously, gives him 1. That leaves me with 6. Anyone else? Need a cheese?
I'd like a couple in case I need to give them to people.
All right. I don't mind giving them to you. Gives 2 away.
I feel like they helped a lot in getting our NPC crew back functional.
They
And of
are
course,
miracles.
Lokag,
Mm-hmm.
the miracle cheese.
Well, I've got 4 on hand. Anyone else?
I'll take 1. Wouldn't hurt to have as a backup. All
right.
A little cheese.
Very well. I'm willing to give away 1 more. I keep 2 on hand.
I will take 1 as well.
Oh, of course, you must have 1. Lokag's Helena's hero. Well, that settles it. No more cheeses. Not till tomorrow. The rest are for me and Bubby.
Awesome. So cheese is doled out. A keg of blasting powder collected. Your 2 gnomish allies in tow. And having now made your way through the broken and racked landscape, the absolute image of what has been following you, the stone itself, the cracked plaza, the rubble of temples and palaces strewn and scattered like the toys of giants across the crazed and ruined plazas. You all come up to the base of this massive stone. The dark red stone has a luster. It almost looks wet. It's somewhat translucent, like light occludes through it, as if it's made of jasper or agate or some other type of stone. But a massive, massive chunk. No type of stone you've ever seen. Certainly not anything from the known world, as it were. One of you has the amulet. Who is it who grabs the amulet and moves toward the base, the wall of the stone?
Vax will go.
Okay. So having moved forward, sort of made your way along the cracks here to the base of the stone, you now follow along the stone back toward the east, cautiously looking up, listening at the walls, hesitant to, be in a bad position should a a pore in the stone open up and goblins issue back through.
Are you going forward stealthily, or do you want us to follow you?
I'd say we definitely want to stay sneaky.
Okay.
All right, stealth checks then, or everybody, as in you all have rested since the last one.
Ah, boo. Can I roll my inspiration?
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You haven't used it yet. Yeah, no one's used one.
That's a little better.
The soft-booted gnomes, their footsteps are very, very, very quiet. They're breathing bated and, they're holding their breaths pretty often though, as they're as close to the stone as they've ever wanted to be. As you all sort of move along the base of the wall, listening up, looking out, crouching behind chunks of fallen masonry and broken stone, looking south at the walls to Southgate, looking out for those goblins. But thankfully they're looking southward, not toward the stone. So as you raise your hand up and step toward the stone starts to swirl and ripple, almost like a whirlpool in on the the eddies of a river current. It swirls inward, and a pore, circular, opens up. Inside, you see rough mounds of, it looks like stitched cloth stuffed with something. Hay, other cloth. You see the mounds of sleeping forms. The smell of unwashed goblins washes over you. It's dark inside, but from through the chamber, you can see the corridor kind of curves off from it, and you can see some firelight along the walls. Looks like a sleeping chamber of goblins. And by your count, there are 8 goblins sleeping on these rough, mounded, mattress-like sacks. 8 unwary goblins await you and the tender ministrations of your allies, both old and new. And as you all open the stone, X peers inward. An item of goblin power clutched in his fist, while exercising some command over the place finally. And it certainly seems a good omen for your second entrance into the Goblin Stone. I think that's where we're going to pause for the session. We'll hold off right here, come back to it, deciding what to do, how you're going to deal with these goblins, whether you're going to sneak past, knock them out, tie them up, or shoot them all in their sleep. We'll have to find out next week on Goblin Stone Session 22.
Dun,
I don't know about you all, but I like a session that's a little bit slower, some more discovery, some roleplay, decisions, you know what I mean? And just some new sort of developments and a little bit of broadening on, what you see and descriptions of the world and who's around and meeting some new NPCs. So yeah, it seemed like a pretty fun session for me, anyway. But let's check in with you all. Oh, did we lose you for a second there, Pon Pon?
Oh, it's just Discord's being real strange. I don't know why.
Huh. Weird. Well, we've come to the end of our session, so you didn't miss much. Me just starting to wrap things up.
Most of it.
Yeah, just sort of pausing at the entrance as the stone flows open. The strange black amulet clutched in X's fist. Two
Oh,
new,
that part's cool. I did miss the amulet. That's fun.
yeah. And yeah, 2 new allies to go with you. A much better idea of what's in store for you going into the Goblin Stone. Going into what you know is a less dangerous level than the first one you entered. And coming into a chamber of sleeping goblins, all pretty auspicious for next session. But yeah, I wanted to check in with everybody and see how the session was for you all, what you're looking forward to, or what you think the plan should be for next session. Brian, how about you? Any thoughts?
I'm thinking that I'm glad we're going back in the stone, and I'm thinking we're going to start the session off with a bang by murdering goblins in their sleep.
War crimes! War crimes! Heck yeah.
I feel like X doesn't see it that way.
Yeah, it's just easy work, right? For X, right?
Balancing the
Just a balance
scales.
sheet,
Yep.
just accounting.
Right, yeah, it just ticks on the abacus, you know?
Just debits, credits, you know.
Accounts received. He's really just a clerk. It's all clerical duties. See what I did there?
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, a nice double entendre.
That was for you, Dio.
Love it.
Oh, I didn't even mean to. Just happened, and then I realized I was saying it. Heck yeah. What about you, Nick? Any thoughts for you on the session, or what to do next session? Any at all?
Sure. Well, I just was thinking of I don't know if you know the movie Clerks. You know, I was just imagining it was clerics, but it was just like those 2 guys. They were clerics in D&D, and they were like in the medieval equivalent of a mall or something. But yeah, you know, I really enjoyed, you know, that there was a lot of opening up. I felt like I was kind of going along on a Disneyland ride, sort of seeing all the things as we were moving through. I really felt the descriptions, which I really appreciate, and it was fun to meet our gnomish friends. I think they're going to be a wonderful asset if they don't try to steal our stuff.
They'll be fun to have around.
Yeah, they seem great, talented, filling out the group.
Yeah. Yeah, getting a real, like, extended team going. An entourage. No, not just an entourage. Yeah, a gang. Yeah, heck yeah. Pon, how about you? Any thoughts for you on the night? Or for next session?
Yeah, I thought this was a blast, but not as much blasting as Elena anticipated. Looking forward to that, a little bit more of that, of course, as always. But I think this was the most, like, even though we've been in the stone before, this felt like the furthest we've ventured out in a weird way. I think maybe it's encountering the gnomes, you know, just meeting other people that aren't townspeople, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to see what happens next, and I'm feeling much relieved to have had a rest behind now, and we're all stocked up on cheese. So I mean, really, what's there to be worried about?
Right. Yeah, I imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, or you all, you know, feel free to speak on this, but I feel like, you know, for the story, approaching the stone and actually seeing it with your eyes as you approach it has had a different impact for, you know, may have helped, you know, this feel like a different, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it felt like it, you know, like that was, that had some weight, you know, and that's kind of why I tried to lean into it a little bit. It's the first time I've seen it from up close, and knowing what you're approaching and knowing what you're going inside of a little bit better, you know. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of getting out and getting another angle of something kind of starts to help give you somewhat of a perspective of how big this thing is that you're trying to tackle. And I think you look at that from multiple perspectives, like from the literal, just what we're visually seeing, to how much we encounter and how many other characters are involved. So it feels like a really expansive session.
Nice. Heck yeah. Deal, I don't think we checked in with you, Loquitur.
That was good. I got a little worried there in the middle when we were in the tunnel, and it seemed like I guess I didn't understand from the description exactly where the goblins were, but I really didn't want to get into a fight in that tunnel.
Yeah.
So
Not again.
there was kind of that middle part where I was like, no, just no. But other than that, no, good descriptions, fun, interesting crew that we met here. I didn't get an opportunity to say it, but I was going to keep like one eye on them when I was meditating for the night. Just like, even though I'm meditating, just keep staring at them, make sure they don't steal our stuff.
Yeah.
But
Probably
but
a
no,
good idea.
it's cool. I'm glad that we're getting back into the stone and see what happens from here.
Heck yeah. Let's see here. Lost track of who I checked in with. J Fink, have we checked in with you?
Not yet. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I know we're always kind of worried, and I think we're worried for good reason of encountering more things, and it's exceptionally difficult when we've just been through the ringer of giant battles. Um, kind of as we've said in the background, like it feels like we need to push ahead, but at the same time, I don't. I know there'll always be something, even if we turned around and went to the square. So I'm excited that we're pushing ahead. Curious to see what's happened back there when we get back to the square, and excited to meet more of the random, you know, not urchins but more criminal elements that have the urchins have encountered in their time of street living, street life.
Yeah. Yeah. All types of people will survive, you know? It's not just going to be traders and workers and such like that, for sure. But you do think probably the bulk of the Thieves Guild was probably wiped out when the black market got crushed.
Yeah.
So that also means there's opportunities, if Milty's still into that.
No, unfortunately, thanks to an oath, as mentioned in the chat, the seven-way split is more of a. I know my cohort needs motivation, but at the end of the day, all of that must flow back to the people.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah. All right, just double checking. Big Bride, did we check in with you on your thoughts on the session, or what the plan should be for next session, or any thoughts you have?
Yes, we did.
All
And
right.
my thoughts were war crimes.
War crimes, that's right. Heck yeah. All right, so that's it. Session 22 of Goblin Stone, War Crimes. Let's see here. Heck yeah. Officially, gang, this is... the last stream that we did, the Landfall, went for 20 sessions, 19, 20. So we're already past the 20 mark. So heck yeah, that's exciting to me. We've got, obviously, this stream we're looking to DL has been, I don't know if this has been mentioned a couple of times, but he's been building he's been building teams on his channel, Locator RPG, teams of D&D characters that are sort of, built to work really, really well together. And we got to talking about it'd be fun to sort of put them through a ringer and make a test for them. And so DL talked me into, I'm working on that, building a little piece to run them through. We're going to collect some of the Mythlander players and run through a couple sessions and test out some of his characters here. So that's up ahead. It's not immediate. Be a month or so, I think, before we do that. But that's something I'm excited about, and I just wanted to mention. But that is all I have for you all this session, gang. Thank you so much for being here and for supporting your friends and allies here playing the game. And thank you to my Mythlander players for get together and having a fun night using our imaginations, solving imaginary problems. And next week we're gonna kill some goblins in their sleep. Awesome. Be good to yourselves. We'll see y'all next week. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and transition us to the goodbye screen. Goodbye. Bye, everybody. Good night. Have a great week. Thank you so much. We'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.
And gonna raid out. Where we're gonna raid out to.
Anton, I heard your voice as you typed "bye" in the chat. I was like, "Oh my god, that's exactly what she sounds like."
Bye.